Happy Tuesday. It's Sweiss with Make Vegas Pay. Better intro this time. Here with my co-host Mons here. We'll talk more later about the Celtics. I'm sorry. I hate the Knicks as well. We will do that later. But to start off with, want to welcome our very special guest, Brendan from Bwade Picks here. How we doing today, brother?
Hey, what's up, man? We're doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Another South Florida guy. Glad you got to see our Florida Panthers win on Friday in overtime. Hopefully we pull out this series here. But yeah, great to have you on the show today. Would love to start off asking about your history in sports betting. When did you start sports betting? And what made you become a handicapper on Winnable?
Yeah. I mean, I've always been a sports guy, and I've always loved numbers, right? So I started betting like on offshore books back when I was in college, which scary to say, like 18, 19 years ago, like using Bwade. And it's kind of grown since then, professionally. Like after college, I was a digital analyst, so I've always done data type things, and so sports and then being good at numbers and that kind of being a passion of mine, like sports betting just comes together as a great opportunity to try and make some extra money. So it's been a passion of mine. And then once it got legalized, the opportunities to do that really just, exploded. And I started handicapping about a year ago. Just got going about a year ago, and it kind of took me a little while to find my niche, find how I wanted to communicate with people, but it's been going really well here probably the last 4 or 5 months.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was going to ask what you were doing previously to Winnable. I know we were on WAP, but it looks like you just kind of started a few months before you got on Winnable there.
Yep. Yeah. So I started right with Winnable. Fan basis kind of like poached me, and I went to fan basis for a month or two, and then I ended up coming back to Winnable, and I've been with them for the last like 9 months.
Awesome.
At what point did you realize you could do this? Like this was going to be something profitable for you, and you wanted to take it to the business level? And at what point did you realize you could handicap and you were better than just the average Joe sports bettor?
Yeah, probably 2 to 3 months in. I'd say when I started doing the YouTube content. I started on Instagram because that's where I saw everyone doing it, and I think my personality and the way that I break down the analytical side of it lends itself a lot better to like long form YouTube content as opposed to like just quick hitting kind of, I don't know, trying to grab your attention Instagram stuff. And so when I started doing YouTube and I quickly started to see, over 1,000 views on most videos, I realized like what I say and the way that I present the information resonated with people. The picks I always knew, I did well with betting, but that's only half of it. The other half is getting people, right? And so when I realized that the way that I broke it down on YouTube went over well with people, I realized that, I could do this and it could go well, especially when, 2-3 months in, it was already starting to kind of go pretty well.
Yeah, I was going to say the YouTube for you, I was impressed with the numbers and the subscribers and all that. We've pushed on Instagram and TikTok, but now we're striving towards YouTube. So any tips, I guess, for the audience on like what do you think's made you the most successful? I know you've talked about kind of long form, but are there specific topics? I know you've covered a lot with like player props for the NBA. So what would you say has made you the most successful on YouTube?
Yeah, so YouTube, I have a love-hate relationship with right now. I have gotten, I'd say over the last 3 to 4 weeks, I've probably gotten like 7 or 8 violations from YouTube
Oh man.
where they suspend my account. Now, I think I found the right appeal like commentary to put in with my appeal, because now I just copy and paste it in, set my appeal. And last night, within 5 minutes, they took the strike down and took off my suspension. So like I've been struggling with YouTube and trying not to get suspended for the last month and a half now. And I had a channel taken down in October. So this is the second YouTube channel I've had. But I find there's a lot of people that really look for props on YouTube and they want an explanation. I see a lot of people kind of just giving picks out on YouTube and Instagram as well. But I think what works well for me is going through the data and really breaking it down so that people feel like they have enough information to make informed decisions as to whether they want to take those picks or not, right? Like I always tell people, my job is I'm just here to give you a better idea of what these picks look like, give you an analysis, and ultimately, like it's up to you to decide if you want to take it or not. My job is to give you enough information so that you feel comfortable making a decision whether you want to take this pick. Now, obviously, VIP is different. I'm giving those picks out for people to take, but in the YouTube content, I'm just trying to give a thorough enough analysis so that people can make informed decisions and feel comfortable with those.
Gotcha. So, what are some of your favorite data sources to use or websites that you recommend for people that are maybe newer to the sports betting space?
Yeah, like the main two that I use in my content is going to be Outlier and Player. I think Props Madness is what it's called. I don't know. It's just like saved in my computer, so it just comes up.
All good.
Yeah, Props Madness. Props Madness is just NBA and WNBA though. So, and that's been great for the NBA season. And really, NBA is where I started to pop off here at like the end of December. But yeah, every other sport Outlier does pretty well for me. But I'm starting to explore some other tools.
Yeah, there's so much out there now with the AI and the different tools and stuff. We're really big into live betting, specifically on the NFL. So send out a lot of halftime bets and such. So working with an AI company there. But going off of what you were saying with like player props, and touching on that and your success with the NBA player props, like what specifically do you target when looking at player props? Is it over unders by quarter? Like what are some of the things you look at there?
Yeah, so I've gotten bit in the ass quite a bit with first quarter props here in the playoffs. Really, everything in the playoffs has been tough with all these blowouts, to be honest. But uh, I just try to find discrepancies and really less so with the recent trends and more so matchup trends. A lot of people I think look at like, oh, this dude's hit this in 5 straight games. I look more so at how they match up against that team, what their rankings are against that position for that stat category we're going for, what their recent history is against them. And I'm pretty conservative. I don't put in a ton of prop bets. I know some people like to, spray the whole board. I am a bit more conservative. I'd like to hit. And yeah, uh, the one thing that I found on YouTube is, and I think it's everywhere, people want to hit like 4 and 5 leg parlays all day, right? Like finding the guys who are willing to take straight bets, they're few and far between, at least on social media. Everybody wants parlays and and they get mad when they don't hit like 90% of them. So trying to educate people on the likelihood of hitting bets so that they come in with a good idea of what they're getting themselves into is also, I feel like, a part of my job in trying to educate them as far as, you know, in my opinion, straight bets are the way to make money over time. Parlays, they're
It's
fun.
definitely
Make money while
factual. I would agree with you there for sure. We have clients that'll take, we'll send out 5 plays and we'll go 3-2 or 4-1, and they'll be like, "Oh, I didn't make money," and I'm like, "Well, what do you do?" And they're like, "Well, we parlayed them." So we're kind of used to that
always,
on our end. Yeah.
always. People are like, oh man, I'm losing all my money with you. I'm like, dude, we're 20-8 over the last 4 days. Like, what are you doing?
Now,
Like, what?
you spoke about educating, and one of the things that we preach here at MVP is educating the importance of line shopping and making sure you're getting the best value. How are you able to shop lines with living in Florida, and are you preaching that to your clients as well?
100%. I'm really trying to get them onto like Profit X and No Vig. Um, those models are great. As you know, they don't have parlays on those platforms.
Yeah.
So some people don't want to move to them. But like, if you're taking straight bets and you're not using them, you are just leaving money on the table. Line shopping, like people, I don't think a lot of people realize how thin the margins are between being profitable and losing money in this. Like literally, going from a minus whatever 120 to a minus 130 that type of payout over time, over the course of a week, 2 weeks, when you're hitting anywhere between 45 and 55% of your bets, is the difference between you being profitable and losing. So yeah, I mean, line shopping is huge. I try to advocate for it. I tell people you should have every sports book that you're able to sign up for. You should
Yeah.
have every fantasy app you're able to sign up for. You're going to get sign up bonuses with them. You're going to get promos with most of them, and you're able to line shop. There is no downside to having every single option that's out there in your state. So I think some people think that I'm just trying to get them to sign up for more things because I get paid, for affiliates, and like, yeah, that's part of it, right? But it's also like, that's part of the game. Like, you have to have all of them and take advantage of those promos, those sign up bonuses. That's how you get an edge against the house.
No, I completely agree, and it's funny because we'll meet a lot of people down here, especially in Florida, and they've either used bookies in the past and had a bad experience, or they are new to betting, because we've only had Hard Rock here for, I think, a little over a calendar year now, and they'll sit there and they'll be mind blown at the idea of the possibility of betting on another book, and it's like, no, like you're paying 25 points of juice more on Hard Rock versus this one or that one. Like they can't comprehend the math behind it and how much it can mean, like you just said.
Especially when you start to do like parlays, because Hard Rock takes into account the correlation on parlays, right? So you'll see, like, if you have correlated parlays on Hard Rock and you compare it to a parlay with correlation on, say, Bwade, you're going to get a much better payout on Bwade. Like, yeah, these legal sports books in America are making money hand over fist for a reason. Granted, all sports books are making money, but like, they are absolutely crushing it.
Well, we've seen it on our end with during UFC and remember college basketball. What was it?
Colorado State
plus 280 on Hard Rock, and then on an offshore that Matt and I both used was plus 305.
Yeah,
and then UFC, we see it all the time.
UFC, it's insane. Yeah, the amount of discrepancies.
And we'll be at a bar with people, and they're like, oh, these odds or whatever, and they say they like the Hard Rock, the ease of use, and I'm like, brother, I'm on like 12 different books. Like, I'm always shopping around. I know you're comfortable with Hard Rock, but if you're trying to make money on this, as you were saying with the parlays and stuff, but yeah, you got to be line shopping and taking straight bets. And people, once they started getting a few drinks flowing, they tend to not be on that same level, regardless of what me and you will send them out as plays.
Yeah, and I don't think they grasp the magnitude of the difference between like a plus 280 and a plus 305, right? Like, it doesn't register with them over time how big of a difference that is going to be. They just go, okay, well, it's either going to hit or it's not going to hit, and I'm going to make $280 or $300. What's the difference? But like, over time, that stuff adds up, and that's how you stay profitable.
Absolutely. Now, quick question, going back to your correlation point, just to make sure I'm following, because this is actually news to me. So if, say, NFL game, so everyone can visualize it, you pick the over, the total over, and then you take, so obviously you think points are going to be scored, which most likely means, offense it's going to be a heavy offensive game. If I take the over in points and Jalen Hurts' passing yards over and A.J. Brown's receiving yards over, and you get what I'm saying, those odds are going to severely diminish because I'm picturing a game script, a particular game script.
100%.
Wow.
You'll see it in baseball right now. Like if I take the Phillies to win tonight, and then I take Trey Turner and Bryce Harper both to go over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, that correlation it won't add up to what it mathematically should add up as a parlay.
No shit.
You see the correlation in it, and so you'll get less of a payout for it.
Wow. Okay. That's very interesting. And that's Hard Rock, or you're saying that's Hard Rock as a whole.
Yeah, that's Hard Rock. I imagine other like legal books in America probably do it, but like you said, we only have Hard Rock down here, so I know Hard Rock does it. So a lot of times, like, it doesn't even make sense mathematically to put some of those extra legs into a same game parlay.
Interesting. Another thing we saw with Hard Rock this season was the same game teasers, Matt, that we were talking about.
I couldn't believe that. I'm used to offshores where you can tease whatever you want. One of my offshores allows 14-point monster teasers in the NBA.
Oh God, what the monster teasers!
And I try to place a simple same game parlay down here, and Hard Rock won't let me.
Yeah,
it's crazy. What was
Well,
I going to say? But going off of different sports, I know we've touched on a few here. What is your favorite sport to bet on, and what do you find the most profitable for you since you've started this to be?
Yeah, so I think my favorite is probably football. Um, it just you have one game per team per week, and I feel like going into it, and I think a lot of people feel this way, but I'll just speak for myself. I I feel like I have a really good read on the teams going into the weekend, right? I never come out of the weekend feeling the same way, but
Yeah, you're telling
I
me.
always go into it like feeling really confident about how it's going to go because there's so few games that they matter so much. Whereas like basketball, it can be a crapshoot sometimes. Baseball, it can be a crapshoot, but like football, I'll go into the weekend and be like, this 4 leg parlay cannot fucking miss. Like this is gold, and then I'll go 1 for 4, right? But yeah, I think football I enjoy the most and I like it the most. Now, the most profitable for me has been baseball. We crushed baseball last year. We're doing it again this year. I think we're 22-13 over the last week for MLB picks.
are those a lot of
And
props, or are those totals,
no,
sides?
so that's game markets. That's going to be money lines, run lines, over unders, mainly money lines. But we do I run a model for our MLB game picks that has been great. I started it last year with a guy that I met. We talked it through, put together the model, and we ran it all last summer. And I think we ended up with like a 63 or 64% hit rate and like 18% ROI. And I think we waited until we were like 3 or 4 weeks into the season this year until we started running it. But it's basically doing the same thing this year.
Wow.
I was going to share because Matt's a big baseball guy. Brandon, what do you think we've even seen it across our friends and people, our clients, right? Like people are getting more into baseball
Yeah.
betting. Like why do you think that is right now that there's a resurgence in baseball betting where there may not be as much with these NBA and NHL playoffs where we've gotten some really good games and people are still like, nope, I want to bet on baseball. I'm mind blown because I'm a football guy myself and have kind of been against baseball, but I've watched some games and seen some different things this year. Matt's got me a little more into it and I'm like, all right, there's people that are betting baseball now.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm not really a baseball guy either, but like I enjoy betting on baseball, and I don't know. I don't have an answer for that other than maybe because when you get in the playoffs, there's just less games and
Yeah.
less to bet on for those sports, and so just when there's more volume, you have more that you can pick from, and typically I feel better about it when I'm able to pick 5 out of 500 instead of having to pick 5 from 25 different options, right? But that would be my only guess. But I agree. I mean, I think baseball, the one strength they have is that, once these championships are over for NHL and NBA, like that's it. And WNBA.
Yeah, I've been told that's a very profitable market from some different sharp and syndicate groups, that
It is.
WNBA. So
It is. So that's actually where like I cut my teeth in YouTube was I realized that like there's nobody else making WNBA content. Most of the fantasy apps have WNBA picks. So like let me see how that goes. And like right from the start, I started like getting views, and that was kind of like my thing for my first month to 6 weeks. Was just firing off. I mean, I knew nothing about WNBA. Like I called one, I think like Chelsea Gray. I was like, yeah, and she's a rookie because she didn't play the whole previous year. So I assumed that she was a rookie. Well, I guess she was like a 13-year vet who missed the previous year due to an injury. But I'm like calling her a rookie in the video, and I got roasted in the comments by some hardcore WNBA lifers.
yeah,
WNBA as a whole is wild to me. I mean, I really, I haven't given it much watch, as I don't think many have. But it has picked up quite a bit of steam with some of these new college additions that they've had, as rookies. Do you think that there's ever any chance that it does turn into a legitimate betting market, or no?
Betting market, yeah. I think anywhere that people can make money, like they will, especially because it's going in the summer when the only other option really is baseball. Now, do I think it's just, I'll be honest, man, it's tough to watch.
If they lowered the hoops like 2 feet and they were dunking, I would probably watch more.
Like watching Angel Reese get 20 rebounds on 15 bricks right next to the hoop is really tough to watch.
That's fair.
And then have her complain about how Caitlin Clark isn't the face of the league. Like, dude, come on. So yeah, WNBA is a tough watch for me, but it keeps getting momentum in, like, I don't know, any sport that keeps growing and where there's an opportunity for people to make money. Like, I'll bet on it. I don't have to watch the games necessarily. I can like watch recaps, go through the data. I'll watch some games, but if there's an opportunity, like, I'll take the bets.
So speaking of watching the games and whatnot, one thing I wanted to know from you is, have you explored or do you share with your clients any live betting tips or anything live at this time, or is that something you're not really interested in?
Yeah, so I don't really do it right now. And it's funny because I think when we talked at the Winnable event, you were next to me with your laptop out and you were telling me how you guys have
That was
a
definitely me.
live bet,
Yeah.
That's
like an AI thing that fires out bets, right? And like you were pumped on it, telling me how that's the future of betting. And like it kind of stuck in my mind, to be honest, because
Now I'm remembering the conversation. Yeah.
live betting does, like, it. There is the most opportunity for discrepancies in lines during live betting. Now the issue is getting those bets out to people in a timely manner where they can capitalize on it.
Yeah.
So I guess if you have a system that makes sense, I don't have anything like that, and at this time I don't give out live bets just because it is so hard for someone to tail it immediately and like get that same value. So
Yeah, you
it's
gotta like teach. You gotta like teach your clients. It's taken us a while. I mean, literally years to teach them.
yeah.
But would love to hear from you, kind of about your community, or if you have one, Discord, Telegram. Like, are you doing anything with that for your clients, or is it more like one-on-one stuff?
Yeah, so honestly, I have a Discord that I don't really use anymore. I started it with another guy, and I don't have the energy to keep up with like all of the people that want to ask random questions and stuff on Discord and just to chirp. And so I do all my picks on Winnable. I send them out on Winnable. If people want to talk, I put my Instagram account out there, and I'm happy to DM, on Instagram through questions, go through whatever. But I just send out my picks on Winnable. They're there for people to tail, and then my DMs are open on Instagram if people have questions or want to chat. And so I usually try to send out like one or two educational posts a week to VIP. I also have free subscribers, so I'll send some stuff out to them as well. I'll give them 4 or 5 free picks a week. But yeah, I keep it real simple with VIP right now. I'm thinking about trying to grow that into, go back to the Discord route or Telegram, but I think I'm probably gonna have to build out a team to do something like that.
Yeah, we actually switched back from Discord to Telegram because we weren't getting as much chatter as we wanted, and Matt's a big fan of the Telegram platform here, and so am I. Actually, it's just easier. There's less channels and whatnot, so
Nice.
that makes
That's
sense
good.
for that. Did you have any?
Yeah.
No, I like Telegram a lot. It's super simple to keep up with the clients and to just like chat with them during the game. I found personally that with the Discord, you join the server and you've got
80 channels.
30 different channels down the left side of your screen, and it gets too much to find which channel you want to talk about what in. So, Telegram, we've definitely had our most success with. But one last question I wanted to ask you: you talk a lot about data. What am I trying to say? What do you use the data for? Do you like your picks that you find with your gut and then use the data to back them up, or do you just make your picks based on data only with no gut intuition on them at all?
Yeah, so I'd say 80% data first.
Okay.
80% I'm finding my picks using data and going from there. Now there's maybe like 20% of them where I feel really good about a pick, but I want to confirm it by doing some research and digging into it. And so I'll go that route. But for the most part, I'm using the analytics to find my picks and going that way. And really, like, it's just about finding that like positive expected value between where I think the odds are for a pick to hit and what it's priced at, right? Like, and I mentioned it earlier, but like 2 picks that I have been riding for the last week or two is like Trey Turner over half a single and Alec Boehm over half a single. And really the single bets in baseball I have been crushing because Stephen Kwan too, right? Like you look at these dudes and they have a single in like 75 to 80% of their games this year. And yet you can take over half a single priced at like minus 130. Like that doesn't make sense to me. If somebody's consistently hitting something at 70, 75%, like that should be priced below minus 200. So those over half a single props, we've been cashing in on them, especially on like DFS apps. But yeah, it's just trying to find that discrepancy between the odds I think something's going to hit at, the odds something's been historically hitting, and where it's priced, and finding that positive expected value.
Gotcha. So, Brendan, wanted to wrap up with one last question for you. What's like the craziest or your most like your bet that you loved the most that's hit, right? Like for me, I hit the overtime on the Super Bowl 2 seasons ago. And then what's the worst beat you've had on a bet where you're like, oh my God, I cannot believe, the ref made that call? Or for UFC, we've heard judges, screwing them out of things or something like that. What are those 2 things for you?
I mean, I'm going to say the bet that I loved the most was the Eagles in the Super Bowl because I'm an Eagles fan anyway. And then watching them just put belt to ass in that Super Bowl felt so good.
You're telling me I had to shave my head because they won the Super Bowl. So that was.
There was never a doubt after the first like 5 minutes of that game. It was like, oh yeah. Like,
don't remind me. I can't.
That was easy to watch. And then worst beat, man, there's been so many. If you've done this for a while, you got a lot. So I'm just going to go with like 2 recent scenarios.
Oh, man.
One was last night. I had the Padres, and they were the last leg in a parlay for me, like a 5-leg parlay. They're like minus 200. They go into the 9th up 2 runs. And in the 9th inning, they walk in 2 runs, right? Back-to-back walks with bases loaded to tie it. And it's like, okay, well, they got 2 outs. We can still get out of this. And then the next batter hits a walk-off grand slam. So the Padres lose by 4.
Baseball's crazy at the end.
Oh, my God. And then Saturday night with Kuminga hitting that 3.
Oh, yeah.
To cover the 5.5. And then right afterwards, the Oilers giving up a goal with 0.4 seconds left to Vegas. Like that was back-to-back as well, and I had both of those picks. So that was a ball buster.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't even want to get into my bad beats from this past football season. But, Brendan, thank you so much for coming on our show today. Bwade Picks. Where can the people follow you?
Yeah, so YouTube at Bwade_picks. I'm on Instagram, Bwade Picks. Those are really the 2 main places you can go to find me. Feel free to hit up my DMs if you have any questions. Check out some of my content, but we're consistent. My goal is to be transparent and help you guys make money.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Brendan. We loved having you on the show and hope to have you on another show.
Awesome, man. Have a good one.
You too, boss.
Later, bro.
Appreciate it.
You're in the seat now. What a guy.
Yeah, no. What a guy. What a great guy. He's a pimp. Knows his MLB for sure. Might not know like the sport.
The MLB stuff right now is crazy to me. Yeah. It's mind blowing. MLB. Who would have thought?
It's
Ben,
back.
we got to go to that Marlins game still. We're still doing the Marlins game. We're still doing the Marlins game.
I think a lot of it, you asked the question, and I think a lot of it comes to how the MLB has done with like their social media and their way of making, these young stars like phenoms and like larger than life. Like they're cashing in on the what am I trying to say? They're cashing in on the stars that are fun and active and outgoing and their personalities. I mean, you look at, like De La Cruz and like Bryce Harper and all these guys that are just superstars, and they're making them super marketable, and it's making everybody that's a fan of the sport, even just a slight fan, tune in and watch. And then everybody's going to watch offense. If there's offense happening,
I feel like
be a way more fun
Bleacher Report and some of those sites need to do a better job of like reposting these crazy endings that you've been like telling me about. I'm like, holy shit, this is nuts. I don't see it as much. Maybe because NBA is still going on in NHL, but during the summer. But
as a whole, the House of Highlights, Bleacher Reports, all of those guys, they're not going to show too much of it. just because it's baseball, and at the end of the day, like the stigma is like baseball's boring, and that's just the end of the day. But if you watch baseball, it's not boring, and there's so much. I mean, you can do your like every night. The MLB app has its own little red zone, and it puts 4 or 5 games on
awesome.
at once.
I didn't even know that.
You know, it puts them all like in the high intensity situations. So like last night, bases loaded. You know, the dog shit Rockies against the Rangers. 1 out in the 9th inning, bases loaded, 2-1 game. Like, yeah, it's a high intensity
I told
spot.
you that with the Coors Field is just a bar, actually.
Yeah.
It's not even a baseball stadium anymore.
Yeah, I mean, they brought out their GM.
What is wrong with the Rockies? Why are they so fucking bad?
Because they're just dog shit, dude. The front office. The front office. It's what it is.
So they get the number 1 pick? Is that how it works in baseball?
No. I mean,
you're
I
not
guess,
guaranteed the number 1 pick like you are in football and stuff?
I mean, yeah, it depends on the end of the season. But, bro, drafting in baseball is so different than any other sport.
How many rounds is that? Like 8 or something?
No, there's a million. There's like 30-something. And, like, during COVID, there was only like 5, I think. But in baseball, dude, you draft for 4 years from now.
Yeah.
In the
that is
NFL,
true.
you draft for the 6 months from
Well,
now.
speaking of drafts, we got to talk about it because this is more of a long term. The Dallas Mavericks. Last night, Mons, what are your thoughts on them?
It sucks.
Does it?
Yeah, it sucks. I mean,
They had a 1.8%
I know.
chance.
I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say it's rigged, even though like
Dude,
probably is.
Them and the Spurs getting the top 2 picks. Like the Spurs just got Wembanyama, and then the 1.8% chance we just traded away Luka. They have a solid team. I think Dallas
do.
I mean, 2 years from now, if Davis and Kyrie are still relatively healthy, that could be a championship level team.
It's a very good roster, and they're adding one of the biggest prospects we've had in
He was going number 1
yeah.
to whoever took him. Yeah.
He should be ecstatic. You know, the fact that he doesn't have to go to like Charlotte right now or something.
Like
oh my
Utah,
God.
yeah. I mean, the Spurs would have been nice too, but
Yeah, I mean, that would have been fun to watch, but it wouldn't have been, the Spurs aren't a team that's desperately in need
So
of
did Nico Harrison, the Mavs GM, make the right move now that this is happening?
No, he got bailed out.
Yeah. I mean,
He got bailed out. It's a dog shit trade. Still.
Yeah, but you're getting Cooper Flag.
I know. So he got bailed out. His job got saved.
I mean, do I think Cooper Flag's going to be better than Luka? No, but I don't know. Luka's got some. He's kind of fat. He drinks beer. Like he's kind of like me. But
I saw a meme. It was
he's
going to be Cooper Flag in 4 years from now, and it's just like him all fat and pounding beer.
Dude, it's crazy, but good for Dallas. I mean, they went from Dirk, Luka to Cooper Flag.
Yeah, they've had a very easy going to be a fan of the Dallas Mavericks since 2000 or whatever. It's been pretty easy.
Yeah.
Going.
Meanwhile, the Charlotte Hornets, my old city, can't figure out nothing.
They're
And
gonna.
they have Michael Jordan as the
what's it
owner.
called? When's LaMelo up?
I don't know, but they should
He's
get
gonna
rid of
get
him.
the fuck out of there.
He should.
If they don't trade him,
They should
he's
get him
gone.
out of there. But the NBA, I mean, do you really think it's rigged though? This lottery.
I don't know. It's so difficult to think that it's not, dude. A 1.8% chance.
They had like the Ernst & Young guy and be like, oh, Ernst & Young financial firm fucking is in there. Like, okay, that doesn't mean jack shit. You can still fucking rig this thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
They always say that. And then, of course, yesterday, like, we got a once-in-a-generational talent of the team that just traded a once-in-a-generational talent to the Lakers, and you gift them at a 1.8.
I mean, especially because it involves LeBron, too.
Why can't they show the ping pong balls live? Why do I have to do it behind closed doors?
But it's like LeBron might not make the playoffs, or they need something to spark him. All right, yeah, let's give him like a unanimous, I'd say.
The guy was in the finals.
Yeah, like a stud. Can't miss stud in the league. They still get knocked out in the first round. Pretty embarrassingly, too. And now that team that made the dog shit trade gets rewarded with another can't miss prospect.
So now Nico Harrison's probably not getting canned, and everything's
Probably
all
not.
good there. But Mark Cuban got out at the right time. I'm
I
glad
agree.
about that. But that's gonna be an interesting division there with the Spurs and Wembanyama, and then you got Cooper Flag, and the Spurs got like 2 top 12 picks as well. But NBA lottery is strange there. But speaking of NBA, want to dive into it. What is the future for your Celtics unless they somehow win this series? Which I don't know how you can sit here with confidence and say. I mean, as much as I hate the Knicks.
Well, first off, I'd just like you to have to eat all of the words. that
Okay,
you're saying
okay.
about the and I'll eat mine
Ben,
about
we
the
never
Cavs.
even. I never said this.
I'll eat my words that I said about the Cavs
All right,
because
fair.
they're probably about to get dumped by the
Pacers
Pacers.
Knicks. What a dog shit
Dog
series.
shit finals, conference finals.
Unless one of them comes back from 3-1, which is possible.
It's possible.
We could sit here next week and one of them wins.
I know it's possible, but
Who's more likely, do you think?
you got to go Celtics.
Even with JT out?
Yeah, I still haven't moved. Let's see if Shams has officially tweeted it yet.
Oh, boy.
I've been refreshing Shams on Twitter all day.
So
but your initial question was, what's the future of my Celtics look like?
If they lose this series, let's say, and they can come back.
It doesn't matter what happens in this series. The future, this is the last year of that core being together. They have 4 or 5 players set to make over $28 million next year. Their sales tax on the cap, I think, would be over $500 million. So they're not paying that. So they are blowing up this roster.
If you're the Celtics, if you're Brad Stevens, who do you get rid of? And who do you keep?
This is the decision I've been reading all morning, like, because everyone's like, I know,
if you're in charge.
I know. If I'm in charge, I get rid of Jalen Brown, because it allows you to keep more of the core together.
Wow, JT over JB.
But I mean, he's getting paid over $50 a year, and let's be real, he is not a $50 million per year player. He balled out in the playoffs last year.
I think you guys have a bigger problem. I think the Celtics' problem is their fucking head coach.
Well, yes, I agree. Missoula,
the threes barrage and the
threes aren't falling.
Pritchard not getting enough minutes. We've talked about it. Missoula, I mean, yeah, he won a championship, but he by far had the best roster in the league. And I don't consider him an elite coach in the NBA, but I think that's more of the issue than the actual roster and the salary cap. They can kind of figure that out. They also draft well and manipulate the cap in free agency. So I'm not a huge Missoula guy, even if he won a championship.
I agree. But
we've seen other coaches like Budenholzer and Frank Vogel and some of these other guys win. It doesn't mean they're great coaches.
No.
And teams then go off of them.
It was gut-wrenching. I mean, you watched in literally the blink of an eye, and of course it came off of a Jaylen Brown, fumble dribble. Of course. Like, that's so Jaylen Brown. You need him to step up, and he fucking gives JT a shit pass, loses the ball. In the blink of an eye, you watch Tatum. It hasn't been official yet, but it's gone. His Achilles is fucking disintegrated.
So he's probably out for some of next season.
All of next season, probably. Maybe a playoffs comeback. But anyway, you watch him go from
40-point game.
A 40-point game. The Celtics still have a little bit of life in that game, if not down 3-1 with all their stars ready to go to try and make a comeback in this series, to, okay, now we're blowing up this roster. 2026 is probably cooked. And now we're looking at trying to rebuild with what's going to be a 28-year-old Jason Tatum in 2027. So it's like
torn Achilles,
off of a torn Achilles. Exactly. And we've seen stars tear their Achilles and come back. Kobe, KD, but Kobe was Kobe. He was just a different breed. But I mean, KD is still a beast, but like, he's not the same since. And I'm really, really sad that we were maybe we're at the peak. If not, we are almost at the peak of Tatum's career, of his prime, and to see it happen to him. It's really gut-wrenching. I sat on the couch, looking at a black TV screen.
It was sad. You know what? As much as I hate Eagles fans, I hate Knicks fans. Well, they were fucking putting something on the streets. They were holding poles or whatever the fuck it was. I cannot. If the Knicks win the fucking championship, I don't know how I'm going to sleep at night. I mean, the Eagles are one thing. They've actually won. The Knicks haven't won shit in 25 years. I can't fucking stand Knicks fans.
I just can't stand New York. New York as a whole. It's a gross
dirty,
city.
Ugh.
It smells.
And they're not a sports city. Boston's a much better sports city.
Yeah.
But my real problem is, my real question to you is, do you think the Knicks have a legitimate chance, if they beat Boston, to win the championship?
I would love to say no, but my heart says no, but my overall sports knowledge says yes, because
they are second to the favorites to the Oklahoma City.
I know, yeah, I saw that this morning.
Oklahoma City's heavy favorites. Though.
And when it gets in the fourth quarter, it really doesn't matter what they're down, because Jalen Brunson's gonna put up 20 in the fourth and probably shoot. I would love to know what his field goal percentage is in fourth quarters of the playoffs.
Yeah, that would be good.
It's probably 70%.
He's unbelievable.
He's probably shooting 70% from the field in fourth quarter.
With that, when they play Indiana, that Garden, I know it gets loud and whatever, but the deeper they go, the more these fans are itching. I
know.
And it does make a difference.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, the Celtics came in game 3 and nailed them there, and then maybe they go back for game 6 to New York, but that place is going to be rocking. I mean, it's like $1,000 to get into a fucking Knicks game. I'm surprised it's that loud at that cost, because I feel like, what do you think about this in sports when the Super Bowl or one of these events is very highly priced? You're not getting the average Joe. You're getting a bunch of fucking rich corporate people.
Absolutely, that's the problem.
But then they're still getting the noise. It's how the fuck is it that loud in there with those? Because they get drunk too.
No, they're pumping in noise from the speakers.
They do pump. The Knicks do pump in a lot of noise, but it is loud in there.
It is. It's loud. It's
fun.
But
you got a guy Spike Lee and some of those guys. They do get loud.
Fuck Spike Lee.
I can't stand him.
He's a loser. No, it was a gut wrenching night.
And again, they had a fucking
14-point lead in the second
Who do you,
half.
I'm blaming that on Missoula.
It's all of them. It's Missoula, and then it's on them for not changing their game plan. I mean, if the three,
Ben's ready to go here.
Well, I just want to say I just saw it, man.
yeah, it's gut wrenching. Did you see it? Did you see the behind view too? Yeah, you see that thing. The whole leg vibrates.
You could tell when he
Like
fell
I'm
down.
looking at it right now, I'm like really sad. Like I'm like emotional.
And Tatum's like a good dude
He's a
too.
great.
You
he
don't
gets
want to see
so
that.
much hate. He gets so much hate, like deservedly so. He puts it on himself with the whole he texted Kobe after Kobe died saying like, this one's for you today. Like, yeah, bro, you're a dweeb for doing that. I love you with all my heart, JT, but you're a dweeb.
You're
and
a JT over a JB guy, and I'm actually.
for sure.
I think you blow up the whole fucking thing.
No, you don't blow it all up.
Oh,
You keep Peyton,
I'm not saying
you keep
blow
Derek
it up,
White, and you keep JT.
but if you can get Giannis,
I would. The package that I like is KP and JB and a pick for Giannis.
yeah, all right.
I like that a lot.
But if I had to give up JT to get Giannis, I would do it.
no,
Wow,
No.
really hating on Giannis.
I'm not giving up Jason.
Giannis
Tatum.
is leaving.
I guess it all
Giannis
depends.
has no reason to stay.
It
I
all
hope he goes to the
depends
Heat.
on
or
how JT recovers.
well, now the Knicks, I don't think are getting Giannis. That's a whole other topic where Giannis goes. But he should leave Milwaukee. He won a championship. These guys are allegiance to the small markets. It is what it is there. But NBA playoffs has definitely been interesting there. NHL playoffs, we're hoping Panthers. I mean, I don't know if you're hoping.
I mean, I don't know. NHL playoffs, I just watch when I have nothing else to watch. The Caps are getting their backs blown out by the Hurricanes.
Yeah, we were all in
Panthers
that-
came back from down 2-0, so that was cool. They're, what are they, 2-2 now?
Yeah.
And Marchand, I still can't get used to seeing Marchand as a Panther.
It's
And
just his birthday.
Thank God I'm not a Bruins fan. Like that's the one Boston sport that I have in my lower tier, just because I'm a Devils fan, being from Jersey. But yeah, I if I was a Bruins fan, I don't think I could even have a smidge of happiness seeing Marchand succeed on the Panthers. It's got to be so weird.
Yeah. It's interesting. I hope the Panthers win again. That would be lovely. I didn't go to the parade last year because of a lot of rain. I guess my Jewish nature couldn't handle it. But speaking of that, one of my favorite days of the year is tomorrow, NFL schedule release. We were talking about it in the car, but for the people, kind of want to hear your opinion, and I'll dive into more of. It's like $1,500, Matt, to fucking watch all the NFL games this season. What are your thoughts on that?
If people, it just goes back to like everything else in the world. If people are gonna pay it, they're gonna keep raising the price until people stop paying it. They're not gonna do anything about the cost.
I'm on the side of actually blaming the sports bars.
How are you blaming?
Not blaming the sports bars, but like it is expensive to go to a sports bar and get a $10 high noon and $20 for chicken wings, and they do have the games for free if you want to watch. You're not paying. You
Yeah.
can technically go in and have a water at a game.
Yeah, so just have discipline and get water.
Well, that's very hard to go to. I mean, who goes to a fucking sports bar and doesn't get a drink? This guy gets a fucking
me.
diet.
Yeah.
Should they charge people for diet soda? Speaking of that.
Yeah, but just not the refills.
Wow. Yeah.
I just
we went to
nuked I
Popeyes
nuked
recently.
their
They tried
corn
fucking
syrup.
Ben. Here, listen to this. They tried charging him for a fucking refill of Popeyes.
I walked away.
They tried to charge you a refill.
Walked
Yeah,
away.
it's really fucked. The refills.
Isn't it self-serve?
No, not the one that we were at. At least.
These places are scammy, but yeah, I mean $1,500. I mean, this guy right here is probably gonna have to spend that amount, which is actually now because I kind of use my family's logins and whatever. But I'm not mad about the prices. The YouTube TV's made it a lot easier. You can go to a fucking sports bar if you don't want to pay that. You don't have to pay anything, according to you, to go to a sports bar. You just have to tip a little bit.
Yeah, just tip the girls. That's it.
So it's not that bad.
It's really not.
Why are people bitching about it then?
Because some people want to watch NFL from the comfort of their couch, and I agree they should not have to pay $1,500 to watch every NFL game if they want to stay.
So going off of that, what is your ideal? You're very critical of these sports bars. What is your ideal sports bar environment? No sound. What type of chairs? Like what would you do for that? You're very critical of it. I don't understand why.
Well, it needs to be good bar food, which we've been over.
We know what the bar food.
Yeah,
is.
we
I
need
think
to
we're
fix
on the
bar
same
food. And then
what about the
sound
setup though?
Like the setup, like what your clients want. So some of these places are so fixated, like they'll pay for a DJ and then they're like, oh, I spent all this money on a DJ. And I'm like, well, yeah, but your clients want the sound today. So, yeah, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I just thought of something. Question, do you guys think that this is something that could be done where if you brought your own headphones or something
Yes.
and you could literally just, hey, what's the Bluetooth to the TV or whatever game?
Oh, I would love that.
Would that
be,
not be fucking sick?
I would literally
definitely
go.
be done, no
I would
doubt.
look like an idiot, but I would do that for
You
sure.
wouldn't look. I mean, but like if everyone, like if you had a group of guys, you guys wanted to hang out, you could
Yeah, we're
hang out.
kind
You
of
don't
like
have
on
to
the
listen.
play call there. We're like, hey.
But yeah. Like you could have one AirPod in, be talking to your buddies, but listen to the game.
Yeah, I
have
find
the
it
obvious.
appalling that down here in South Florida, I will go to most of the sports bars or even bars for big games, and there'll be no sound. I know I like listening to it loud. But without it on, people don't really get into it. It's just people trying to pick up tail and whatever.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely a different vibe down here. I don't know, Ben, you got my head spinning. I think the future of like sports bars, maybe not down here because people just don't give a fuck about sports in South Florida as much as other areas.
That's fair.
But you know, like a private screen
It could be fucking sick.
that you pick your own Octo box instead of Red Zone. Like you pick
I'd
what games
you know
wanna
people go to
watch.
like karaoke rooms. What if you just had like you can just rent out the room and have your Sunday there?
We might have just thought of something.
This might be a good business idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just picturing, us and the boys going on a football Sunday, having our 5 TVs instead of in my fucking living room, going to a sports bar karaoke room area, and you get your food and your drinks and whatever, and you're in your own private room. I know they've started to do it at like movie theaters and stuff, but
Yeah, think about it. Like you could have a whole event and you could have 6 screens, right? And just each screen is a different game,
yeah,
right? And you could be in like a
it's like a
booth
silent
setting.
disco.
Yeah, like a silent disco, but for sports betting. I mean, you could probably do anything.
Wow, we might have to start this nationally, guys. This might be a thing. We might have to do this, but sports bars in South Florida really just throwing off a vibe for me.
Yeah.
I don't know, because then I go to Boston. When I went to the Celtics game, great sports bars.
I think it just depends on the city. I mean, let's be real. Like when you think of, I guess this is a good way to put it. When you think of like Texas, you're right. Like you probably think of like Cowboys, or you think of like Southern like heritage or whatever. But like that also includes. It's true, but it also includes football. Like you think of football
That's
when you
blended
think of
to
the
the
state
culture.
of Texas. When you think of Boston, most people would probably think of the Red Sox or the Patriots. Like that's what you think of. When you think of New York, you think of the Yankees, you do think of the Knicks. Like when you think of South Florida, or if people say the word Miami, no one goes right to, the Heat or the Florida Panthers.
No,
They
not
think
even
about
when
like
LeBron and
clubbing.
D-Wade were here.
Exactly.
It's
They think
fucking
about
crazy.
clubbing. They think
Clubbing
about
and
like
tail and girls.
Club
checking
11.
out girls. Yeah.
Yeah.
They think of 11.
And
they think of
Tootsies.
space.
Apparently, all the NFL players go to Tootsies. which
Yeah,
was-
so
was
I think
hearing.
it's just
Post-game,
depends on the
yeah.
area that you are, and I would love to know how some of these restaurants and sports bars down here are staying afloat out of NFL.
They
season.
might have some health violations, but who knows? But speaking of NFL schedule release tomorrow, Matt, I know we have done, or Mons, I like Mons better. We'll for the show at least. We have the schedule coming out tomorrow. They've released some of the international games. What are your thoughts on all these international games? Is it good for the league? Because I've heard from players that, Aaron Rodgers, for example, he didn't want to play on all these primetime. He's actually waiting for the schedule apparently to come out to see how many games the Steelers have on primetime. Because he likes those 1:00 Sundays. You fuck up your routine when Mahomes is playing on a Wednesday and then a Thursday, Monday. Like, what are your thoughts on that whole thing? Because I've been looking into it. It's very interesting.
No, what's your question? The international or the random weekday games?
First off, yeah. What do you think of the international game? The
Internationals I hate.
expansion of.
I
Okay.
hate.
Why?
Because exactly like you said, the players are completely out of sorts. You lose a home game. If that's your home game, you lose one. And home field advantage for the right teams in football is a massive thing. So you lose a home game. It's a giant money grab by the league to try and expand, into other countries. I don't know what the players are getting out of it. They're not getting. I don't know if maybe they get a bonus in their check or whatever. But come on, I don't really think the practice squad guys need it. But other than that, if you're on the main roster, you don't need it. I don't know. I hate it. It fucks up routine.
Well, that's what some of these older guys, they'd rather play at 1:00 on a Sunday every week.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's like if me and you in a different routine every week. Fucking, it's even annoying for the fan because we're now watching games. I like the Monday, Thursday,
you
Sunday.
lose the West Coast fan.
Did you hear that they put want to get your opinion on this, an NFL doubleheader during the first 3 college football playoff triple header day on that Saturday?
I did not.
Yeah, they just announced that, which is kind of fucked in my opinion. And I love the NFL.
Didn't they do that last year or something?
They did it to an extent. I think this is like a worse scale.
The NFL's
They don't give a
they're
fuck.
trying to monopolize the entire fall and the beginning of winter. I mean, the fact that
They're going to expand the season too, and then they're going to have President's Day. It's going to be fucking.
the
Super
fact
Bowl.
that it took 2 years of NFL games being on Christmas to outdo NBA's Christmas Day numbers. Like NFL is trying to monopolize the entire.
But I think
year,
it's
calendar year.
fucked up for them to go into college and do all that.
I agree, and I think
Have some
college
respect
football.
for college because they're the ones who they're your feeder program, right? It's a minor league for the NFL. There's no minor league, so I was a little upset to.
There's a minor league, the UFL.
yeah.
I'm a big fan. You can get some great value betting on UFL.
Yeah, really.
You actually can. I'm not
Tell
gonna
the
lie.
people about the UFL.
No, I'm serious. If you look at line movement and like you get your action in a few days before the games, you can get some.
You know what really
serious
pisses me
value.
off? People that fucking bitch about UFL line movement and then offer it on their goddamn. No, I'm serious. Don't offer UFL on your goddamn website if you're gonna sit and bitch and moan about people taking it. They don't fucking post
I just
it.
spread my action around. Like last week, I was on 2 books. Got smoked on some UFL. I was on another book and hit some UFL. So it all depends. But
Yeah, it's up
I
and
understand
down.
not liking as a bookie. Like I would understand why someone wouldn't want
Yeah.
like a lot of UFL action, but then just either limit it to like $1 bet, so I'm not going to bet it.
Yeah.
Or take it off completely.
Hey, that's how it is.
If you book it, pay it.
Hey, Bill Krakenberger from Vegas. But thanks for a great show with my co-host here, Mons. That was great with Brendan from Bwade Picks here. You can follow us on all socials. Make Vegas pay on everything. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. It's been a great week. And thanks, guys. And enjoy the rest of NBA and NHL playoffs.
Rest up, JT.